With all these incredible proposed plans and programs and advancements on the horizon for anyone who keeps up with space news, personally, what are you most excited to experience within the next, let's say, decade or so?
I am most excited about us as a world, and that was a you mentioned the overview effect. When I think of our planet now, I think of this beautiful planet we live on that we all get to enjoy. But I also think of it as home. When I grew up in Franklin Square, Long Island, just out of New York City, and that was my home. And then New York was my home. I think when I left New York and started going around the country a bit and going to college and grad school and so on, I considered myself a New Yorker. And then as an astronaut, I considered myself an American. I would say I'm an American. I've got the American flag on my shoulder. But then after going to space, when I think of home, I think of home as planet Earth. I think that was somewhat of the overview effect, but I think it was also just going around the planet over and over again. Not only the beauty of it, but the concept of we're all there. Everything I've ever known, everything I've ever experienced has taken place on this one planet. When I think of home, I think of Earth, and it's a place we all share. So I think of the programs we're doing now are very international, and I think of them as it's not just the United States, it's other countries working together, and now private companies, and we're using not only the brain power we have at NASA, but also the entrepreneurial spirit that we have in the United States too, has been very helpful in being able to expand what we can do in space. And I think all of those things have come together such that NASA can do more, not just working with these private companies, but also in its directives to leave the planet to go beyond low Earth orbit, and that is to the moon and to Mars. Right now, I'm most excited about the moon because that's the next step that we're going to be taking with people. And I think doing that, if we do it right, we'll use the moon as a launching pad to go to Mars. When I first started as a new astronaut in 1996, we created a patch, Drew, and you can see it over here on my shoulder. This is my
Mhm.
astronaut class patch. And if you look, I don't know how well you can see this, but we wanted the patch to has the different countries. We had 8 different countries represented in my astronaut class. We thought about, well, what this patch is going to mean. It's going to depict what we think we're going to be doing in the years that all of us will be at NASA as astronauts. And so there's the space shuttle and the space station, which wasn't even started yet, but that's here. But we also have the Earth, the moon, and Mars. We thought one of us might be going not only to the moon, but also onward to Mars. And that didn't happen. But now we have a rocket, the Space Launch System, which can get there. And it tested on the Artemis with the Artemis missions. Artemis 1 launched successfully. There was nobody on board, but it tested the spacecraft and came back safely. SpaceX and other companies are building gigantic rockets. SpaceX, like the Starship, that can go to the moon and beyond. So now it's capable, and we have a crew that has been assigned to go to the moon to do an orbital flight, hopefully sometime next year. And I'm friends with all of these people, these 4 astronauts. When they came to New York to appear on the Colbert Show, they were announced, I think it was a Monday, and on Tuesday they were coming to New York to appear on the Colbert Show and the Today Show.
Mhm.
And when they landed at JFK that afternoon, after they were announced, I got a text from one of them. Victor Glover's like, "Hey, are you around? You want to get together?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'd love to see you guys." And we met for dinner that night, and the whole crew was there. And I think 3 of them had their spouses with them. It was a big event. It was really a fun evening to be with them. My wife and I met them, but I remember waiting for them outside at a restaurant in New York, and just waiting, looking down the block to see when they're approaching me, and I see them coming, and I walked toward them, and the commander's a guy by the name of Reed Wiseman. And I quickly went up to him and gave him a big hug and said, "I am so happy for you, Reed. I can't even explain it. I'm actually happier for you being assigned, you and your crew being assigned to go to the moon. I think more excited than when I got assigned to my space flights." And he goes, Mike, I understand. Because I'm gonna feel the same way about it when they schedule the first crew to land on the moon. That it's something we've wanted to looking forward to. The first crew to land on the moon, since the Apollo guys,
Mhm.
where it's a whole different model. We're not just going for visits. We're going to be going to stay and settle and explore and learn, and then use it as a launching pad to go to Mars. That's the plan. And he says, "Yeah, I'm going to be more excited for that crew than I am for me and my crew getting a chance to go." And that I think kind of sums it up for me, is that seeing people go back to the moon. I saw that. I'm old enough to remember that. I was 6 years old when Neil Armstrong took those steps, and it made me want to grow up to be an astronaut. And I think that is to me going to be a great accomplishment when we get back there. And I'm very excited about that. We've been in low Earth orbit with the space station and the space shuttle for a long time. We've been concentrating on that for over 40 years, and that's been great. We've learned a lot between the shuttle and the space station for the past 20 or so. But now I think going beyond that, and being able to explore the moon and all the communications that have been going on in low Earth orbit, I think that's great. The communication satellites and all that. But going beyond that, and looking for signs of life in the outer reaches of the solar system and beyond with the James Webb Telescope and with the Hubble Space Telescope. Those are all things that really excite me. As far as people in space, it's going to the moon, but to me, it represents all of it. Of like really going beyond
Stepping
low
stones.
Earth orbit and reaching out to the end of our solar system and beyond.